So let me tell you about my ego death today. So I had this tough meeting with Scott this morning, basically, and I got a bit butthurt because Riley and I are working on this pitch for the personal branding setup, and basically, like, it's a lot of money. It's 6 figures that we're proposing, and the PR consultant that we're working with is going to be a lot. I mean, he wants nearly 15 grand a month alone, but we're going to do a phased approach, so it won't be that much at the start. And if we get the grant, there's an Australian export marketing grant, which basically means if you're an Australian business and you're exporting or you're building international audience and international customers, they'll pay for like 50 cents on the dollar of what you spend,
right,
up to $300,000 per year. So you get 150 back. Anyway, so we're candidates for that. The challenge is where we thought we would be able to demonstrate pretty clear return on investment to IT Genius for building the personal brand. Scott putting his CEO hat on, which is his job, was basically, here's the XYZ return on investment you need, and we had not miscalculated, like we had an idea of what that revenue would be, but I think, in getting excited about the project, we were ambitious about what the ramp up would look like in terms of traction and in terms of results coming from it. Because IT Genius generates, I don't know, it's about $500,000, maybe 600,000 in pipeline from 25,000 subscribers, which is really good, right? The question is, let's say I get on national Australian TV, or maybe I get on I don't know, mainstream news articles, Daily Mail, that kind of thing. Will that necessarily translate into enough revenue from the right audience? Entrepreneurs are a very small fraction. I mean, lots of people are business owners in Australia. There's 300,000 business owners, right? Out of however many million Australians there are, 25 million. But the challenge is, are they the right demographic? Are they the right audience? Anyway, so like just got a big dose of reality basically from Scott, which was good fun.
Which was his job.
Which is his job, exactly. And and we both, agreed on that. Wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't. But the big thing, which was the ego death, was he said, okay, cool, you blow up your social profile, that's great, but isn't it going to alienate the audience if you've got 2 chicks kissing each other at a party at your place on your Instagram?
Oh no.
Because that's going to resonate with the emerging audience, which is millennial entrepreneurs.
Millennial, Gen Zers.
Yes, but the core audience, current core audience,
It's traditional.
is
Gen
a bit more
X.
traditional, is Gen X, and even a handful of boomers, and they've like got kids and church and pretty normal lives, right? And they aspire to have like the freedom of traveling the world, but they're not really interested in like strapping on a backpack and doing digital nomad travel, because they have fucking families. Like they've got pretty normalish lives.
This is such
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah, big challenge. So the challenge is, and Scott's pointed words were, who do you want to be and to who, right? Because and to me, it's not like I have a fragile sense of self. I've got a pretty good idea of who I am, in myself. However,
You're gonna have to build your public image.
I'm going to have to decide and define what my public image is. Yeah. So the challenge is, I don't have a fragile sense of self, right? But being someone who's experienced adverse childhood experiences, there is a little bit of the like chameleon effect, right? And like plenty of entrepreneurs resonate with that, right? And it's kind of like I can choose who to market myself as. and I've got lots of interests. I can be the car guy, I can be the carnivore meat guy, I can be the tech dude. There's lots of different options of what version of Peter I decide to play, right?
Boomer men love that.
Sorry?
Boomer men love that.
Oh, yeah,
Gen X
those
boomer.
three, yes. Yeah, those three. But there's also like...
It's like masculinity.
Total, yeah. But then there's like the tantra sexuality, queerness, like living in my truck, kind of hippie vibes, Northern Rivers, spirituality. And it's not like there's two different sides or anything like that, although, they are certainly different parts of myself. And the challenge is, I'm a pretty unique individual.
Yeah.
There is a very, very, very small, minuscule number of people who fit all of those Venn diagrams, and they're like, Pete, you're my jam, right? But there's 300,000 business owners in Australia. That would be, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. And so the question inside my mind is, where is the line between authentic expression and marketable public identity? Oof. Oof. Because we want to be us. Everyone wants to be themselves, right? And we want to express an authentic version of our identity. What's the point of being a certain boxed version of Peter online? What's the fucking point of that, right? But Scott has a fucking point, and this is what really hammered it home. His follow-up was, after the meeting, I could spend $10,000 a month on another influencer who would have the right audience, who isn't you, who isn't posting
And this is why you should
tantra
have separated. Like, you should have had separate Instagram profiles for different interests.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, that's an option, but they're all still me. They're all still me, and people will find them eventually. But also, it's like, I did that. I had that. I had like business Peter and I had personal Peter, and it felt like a split. It felt like a split because it felt like I was acting like business Peter over here, which did not actually feel like an authentic expression of my humanity of who I am. And this is exactly what Riley and I are tackling. Is like, who is Peter Moriarty, and what do I actually want to share with the world? So.
Yeah, the thing too is that you don't have to share everything with the world.
I don't have to share everything with the world, which is true. But there is a desire to share some things, and this is what I was reflecting on. So I have a sleep, I have a little ego death. I kind of let the stuff settle, and I'm like, okay, well, there's a part of me that desires expressing my queerness, my sexuality. That's a very important part of me. Right, and I list it out, and it's one of those things where I've got to do this from time to time. It's like, okay, list out the things that make up my personality and make up my interests, right? Psychology, business, entrepreneurship, spirituality, sexuality, automotive, and then there's like the automotive, and then maybe, I don't know, growth, learning, family would be values, right?
Yeah.
Mixed in with those. It's like, okay, cool. They're pretty interesting Venn diagram type circles. And then there's there's the neurodiversity piece as well, which is like, in 3 months' time, I might find something else to hyperfixate on and go down the fucking rabbit hole. Carnivore is like I was nearly vegan. I was nearly vegan until a year ago when I decided to be carnivore, and now it's like all I've eaten is red meat for a full year. So it's like something else may arise. At any time. So look out, audience. So that's an interesting factor, right? And what I kind of sat with was like what you were kind of getting at is like, okay, cool. There's some parts of me that I might not share online, or I might share differently online.
Yeah.
And I legitimately thought maybe it's time to start an Onlyfans. And just let people find it. And that's pretty 2023.
Oh my god.
It's like, I've got my business profile, which is public on Instagram, but I don't need to post any of the sexy stuff on Instagram.
It doesn't have to be OnlyFans.
Well, it could be whatever platform, right? But if people want access to more erotic, sensual, sexualized content, which is all tasteful, in my opinion, and I desire to share that, then there will be a dedicated, specific space, and I might just mention it from time to time, but it's not necessarily something that's out there. It's not something that if someone goes to my Instagram profile and they're a 40 or a 45-year-old business owner with a family and kids and stuff like that, who's trying to learn how to, I don't know, get their Gmail sorted out, or they're interested in being inspired as an entrepreneur, they're not necessarily interested in conscious sexuality or conscious erotica. Although, the crazy thing is, a small portion of my audience drop into my DMs and they're like, hey, where can I learn Tantra? Where can I get into this?
Different compared to open relating, for example.
Well, I think the realm of Tantra, conscious sexuality, and conscious ethical non-monogamy are all kind of intrinsically linked and in the same kind of realm. But yeah, maybe that's something for another profile.
You could
Only because sexuality is so edgy. It's so edgy, and you can't half do sexuality influencer, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got to be in that bucket.
Lagyan na ba?
I think this is it.
Sige.
All right, time to zip this one. Until next time.
Sige, salamat.